Welcome amigos to Improvement Gang. We're tuning in to your favorite YouTuber, right? However, if you were in another society, something like the Roman society, instead of tuning in to YouTube, you would go down to the Colosseum and watch something like bloody fights to the death or gladiatorial fights. Yes, I know it sounds bizarre, but that is what happened back in the day. However, no matter how bizarre this topic is, I think that it is worth exploring. I mean, could humans find the killing of another human being entertaining? Well, yeah, that already happened. But it sounds like it should come from like a psycho society. And so there is the question, could our modern society ever allow this type of entertainment to happen again? Well, we're gonna find that out. So we have to understand that the killing of someone for entertainment is also not anything new. This happened a lot of the times throughout history in many different societies. But currently, it is not something popular, if you might be aware of this. But back in the day, it was. But most noticeable, this was in the Empire of the Romans. So let's explore this society to, basically be educated about how this type of brutal entertainment came to be. So hold your horses, we're going back in time. Now, if you're new to this is how a gladiatorial fight would go down. Imagine yourself seated in the Colosseum, and there is probably up to 60,000 people around you watching this game, and people are shouting, they're betting, and they're rooting for their favorite gladiator. I don't know, Dolphus the Third or something. And in the middle of the arena, there's two men. Both are equipped with weapons of their choice, probably like a shield, some swords, maybe a trident, I don't know. But you then see these two men go at each other, and then they go ham and the battle begins. And then soon enough, there's blood on the sand, there's tension in the air, but the fight cannot be too quick or the audience gets upset. And so as soon as there's a good battle and then there is a loser and there is a winner, the winner just can't kill the loser by its own authority. No, the audience gets to decide if the defeated gladiator gets to see another day. Yikes. But since this is what people came to see, most of the times the decision was against the loser, and after the approval of the audience, the winner, and the crowd goes crazy. They're like, yeah. And yes, although there are some variations of this type of entertainment in this sport, this is basically how the event would go down. So just think of it like that. Now, most people know Rome for their marvelous things. They're pretty chill. They know it for its size, its greatness, and credit to them. They also did pretty amazing stuff, like a complicated road system, aqueducts, and other marvelous things, including an establishment of the law of the land. No matter how great, the empire also had a naughty side to them, and this naughty side was pretty extreme. The society was lenient to war, fighting, and conquering. A lot of people knew how to fight, they had weapons, and it was just a normal day thing. It was basically like watching some cars pass by on the road. But for this reason, it is not surprising to know that gladiatorial fights were something the audience were into, What? But again, what happened to the warriors? Why would the warriors want to involve themselves in this type of thing? I mean, they would most certainly die, right? Chances are 50-50, you're dead. But if this is your critic from the sites, you would be right. Most gladiators would never do this out of free will.
What would you think I'd do it?
That is why most of these fighters, unfortunately, were slaves, POWs, and criminals with a death sentence. Talk about capital punishment. And although some did volunteer, this percentage was very, 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 very small. And the main reason that they would even accept to go into these type of things would be the clout. You see, if you entered into these fights and you won, you would be rewarded with fame, glory, and money. So that's pretty interesting to note. Maybe there was a Tom Brady back in the day or something. However, despite the violent nature and possible glory, why would this even originate in any society, even if it was lenient to war and all that stuff? Well, you might as well guess that gladiatorial fights were just part of the culture. The Romans were this.
They're military. Better get ready for war.
But you would be surprised that the origins of this actually came from their ancestors, the Etruscans. In Etruscan society, gladiatorial fights did not start as an entertainment. No. This was actually kind of a weird thing. What they would do is they would have these fights, but for a funeral ceremony for military leaders. It was meant to honor the dead leader, and the blood that was shed and all of that was basically like a parting gift for the spirit of the dead. But despite the funeral tradition, these type of events started to catch the attention of people. Who would have guessed that some people would say, hey, did you hear about that? Well, soon enough, these fights began to transform solely into entertainment, and do not get the idea that gladiatorial fights were a new thing for people. No. One of the earliest gladiatorial fights dates back to 264 BC, so this is old. And this sport was so embedded into this society that even Roman empires were a part of these ones. And one of them was Emperor Commodus, or something like that. But now that you have seen the origins of the sport, some might blame this type of thing for cultural reasons, or maybe it was just the way that the world was back in the day. But either way, you just can't deny that the Romans were pretty fond of seeing blood around them, especially for entertainment. And I say this because these fights would not only entertain the elite, but they would entertain common people. And yes, on one hand, these fights probably served as a way for the empire to show its strength and basically say, know your place, because if you betray me, this is what's gonna happen. And this gave them power. But for the audience, it also gave them power over the audience, and many people bonded over these type of experiences. Maybe their favorite fighter was their commonality or something. But again, most people also didn't care about what happened to the gladiators. And yes, it's sad, but most of them were just slaves or criminals, which wasn't very much appreciated back in the day, so the empathy wasn't there to begin with. So their death was just for entertainment. That's all it was for them. And side note, if you are finding this entertaining, please give this a like. I would appreciate it. Now, you might want to think that the current society might never, ever do something like this. Like, it's a tragedy. Who would want to do this? However, I honestly think that you might be mistaken. Just because we might be, a little more advanced and probably developed a better sense of ethics or moralities, all of that stuff, it still doesn't take away at nature. You see, if you look at nature, you see bears, tigers, orcas, and other animals, they do a lot of this type of things. They kill animals, and they don't always do it for just eating. Orcas have been recorded to play with their prey by tossing them up in the air and basically just playing around with them, not eating them. And then I've seen a video of a lion paralyzing what seems to be like a young hyena, and it doesn't kill it, it just leaves it there. And so people would say, do they do this for fun? I would say that probably some animals do this type of things just for fun. So don't you think that this is something that you're exempt from? We're animals too in that way. We also have that inner desire to probably watch this stuff at the very least. And I would say that these type of urges actually led to a lot of sports or shows become popular or viral. And a great example of this is Squid Game. Yes, I watched it, it's good, and I highly recommend it. But one of the main reasons that I wanted to keep watching the show was because it was so violent, it was so drastic, and the stakes were high. And so I was very involved into this type of show. Now, although it might not be that I actually like watching this type of stuff, it seems that it's just so captivating, not only to me, but to many other people, that people just are like, whoa, did you see that? And this is just something that is very shocking to see, that people just can't take away their eyes from. And in other things like MMA, basketball, football, etc., a lot of the clips that do become famous are the ones that, are kind of bloody, maybe knockouts, maybe a broken bone or something like that. And, well, you can start to see why gladiator fights started to be like this. And so this is pretty common to society. But there is one thing that comes very close to gladiatorial fights, and those are those sketchy websites that people upload, watch, comment, and share disturbing scenarios caught on camera, like killings and a lot of crazy stuff. And a lot of these people, I would say, watch it for entertainment. Now, some do argue that they watch this type of material to be informed and basically show what the world looks like, but I would only partially agree, because I have read and heard the types of comments that some people make in these type of videos, and I would say that it's very shocking. It actually entices me to basically report a psychopath or something, because they're so bad. So yes, although we have become a long way from these brutal killings of humans for entertainment, do not be so sure that this is how we will naturally reside. There is a monster inside of us. but it is very dangerous. So do your part, become that monster, and learn to control it like Jordan Peterson says. Treat others as you would yourself, and love thy neighbor. Pretty basic stuff. So was this shocking to you? Let me know in the comments. Please do comment, give it a like, please share it, and please do subscribe, because I do want to get this channel off going. Thank you very much. Stay sharp, Improvement Gang. I'll see you on the next one.